Good children would not be good children without our beautiful sponsors.
So support good children by supporting our sponsors.
We all know home-cooked meals are so much better for you, but you don't always have the time to pull it off.
With HelloFresh, it's easier to get dinner on the table.
And for free breakfast for life, go to hellofresh.com/freegoodchildren.
One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Free breakfast for life just by going to hellofresh.com/freegoodchildren.
HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Get trusted FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower price than branded alternatives.
For listeners, you can get 20% off your first order at rocketrx.com. Use code GOODCHILDREN.
Go to rocketrx.com and use code GOODCHILDREN at checkout to get 20% off your first order. Follow the link in our description. What were you going to clear the air about when we started rolling?
Oh, I just wanted to let everybody know, like, I'm feeling really good and I'm feeling very confident. And yeah, Deb is busty, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? She might be in high school, but she's got big bosoms, double B's, and that's fine.
Those are double B's?
Well, girl, these are off the charts. These are off the charts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nothing like dressing up like Deb and Napoleon.
It's good to be back in a costume.
I agree.
feel like we took almost an extended hiatus from wearing a costume. When was the last time we dressed up?
In your old house. I mean, your house.
It was probably the holidays.
Definitely
I think the
holidays.
last time may have been Christmas.
You think that's why we fell off?
Yeah. Well, no, because now we have 18 million patrons.
Yeah,
so
it's actually crazy what manifesting does. Because
18,000, sorry.
18,000. Well, no,
18 million.
No, you're thinking you're mixing up the Patreon and the
regular
views.
Stats. 18 million listeners weekly, 18,000 patrons a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you're not on the Patreon, this is actually a really good call to action because like there's a community of 18,000. Honestly, I would say hopefuls entering the villa.
I would say, yeah. And well, multiple patrons have gotten married to each other since joining the Patreon.
It's really
We've
beautiful.
attended at least 3 weddings.
And we've only been doing this for 6 weeks, so you can only imagine how quickly those relationships
And
go.
I do think that we should check in because we are at that 6-week mark of this podcast, and I feel like we have accomplished so much.
And I don't think it's shocking because I mean, since Joe does a lot, and you haven't posted like the stats in a bit.
I haven't posted the stats in a long time.
And I wonder if it's because we're doing so well.
It's because I don't want to brag.
Yeah, I get that.
Sometimes it's like when you're at the top of the food chain, why are you going to brag?
Yeah.
Why are you going to tell people you have 18 million weekly listeners? Like,
Correct.
It's just like embarrassing. I feel confident in us that we don't have to address the fact that we are the #1 highest streaming podcast of all time.
I don't need Claire and Ashley from Celebrity Memoir Book Club coming to our apartment and knocking on our door and beating us up. I don't need that.
You think they're going to beat us up?
Yeah, because we're the #1 podcast in the world.
Yeah. A lot of girls are very jealous.
And you know, speaking of jealousy, Joe just said something to me before the camera started rolling, and I had a full body reaction to it. I was asking you if when you like suck your teeth together, if you feel your teeth, like the roots of your teeth, because I have to go to the dentist, and you told me you have dental insurance.
Well, I got it today. I got dental insurance today because I have had, and I don't want to hear it. Please, dentists, dental assistants, dental hygienists, please, everyone in the dental field.
Yeah.
Try your best to keep this to yourself, my diagnosis, because I don't want to hear it from you. I want to hear it from my dentist that I'm paying out of pocket to go to. Yeah. Because it's not the best insurance. I'm getting a slight discount on dental work.
Oh, it's like a 15%.
One of those. I think it's 25.
That's kind of nice.
Did you almost say it was BOGO?
Yeah, I was going to say it's BOGO.
I wish it was BOGO. That'd be great for us.
Because I'd be coming with you for sure.
No, I've just been suffering from such overwhelming mouth issues since going abroad. And it's not the first time this happened to me. The last time it happened, you and I were in California. And then I went to Coachella. And in Coachella, I had the exact same level of mouth pain. So it's something to do with when I travel. Yeah. And it might be because I put my toothbrush in my travel bag without any blocking.
No cover?
No, it's just loose.
I mean, you would be shocked to hear, but I at least put it in a little Ziploc baggie.
Yeah, sometimes I'm rushing.
I get
Sometimes I'm rushing, and I was rushing.
I feel like you're always rushing to get out the door for the plane, though.
Well, sometimes. It depends. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I run. Sometimes I fly.
Wow.
Sometimes I'm scared of you.
But all I really want is to hold you tight and treat you right.
Be with you day and night. But baby, all I need is time.
Good children.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Good Children, the podcast. We're hosts Joe Hegyes
and Andrew Muscarella reflect on their 24 years of friendship,
growing up in the late 2000s,
early 2010s,
and all of the nostalgia,
trauma,
and college experiences that go along with it.
Bet you didn't think we were going to talk about college.
Bet you didn't think that we moved past childhood in a rushing galactic way.
But it never goes away.
No, look at us. Look at the way that you're looking at yourself in that monitor. Childhood never goes away.
Childhood
never goes away.
You're always going to be experiencing yourself just like you were 8 years old again.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Experiencing yourself.
Because I don't want to I never want to talk about my childhood self poorly anymore, because I'm like, if you look back in yourself and you hate what you used to look like, then you'd be troubled. But actually right now, yeah, I could look at myself and say, all I feel is that sixth grader that was about to head on stage and the mother stopped me before I got on stage and said, maybe you should look into getting a bra. Maybe I can't
believe. I know we've beat that horse to death, but can you imagine?
No, it's just to me, it's funny because I've experienced these things, but I do think looking back on a lot of these episodes, recent conversations, a lot of things that I've said.
Recently, you've unearthed a lot of darkness.
Joe, a lot of darkness to a point where I had people reach out to me about it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Family members. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Family members that said, I actually had to skip this episode.
Jesus.
When I heard. Yeah.
Jesus.
So I didn't realize, but again, I look back on these things and I think
that's funny.
It's funny. It happened to me and I moved on. But I also can recognize that a lot of these situations that I've been in, we just bounce away from.
Mm-hmm. One day you're going to go on an ayahuasca retreat.
Yes.
And I think that is the day that everything that you've said on this podcast will ring back in your ears like the echoes of a bell in an empty chasm. And I think that once those echoes reverberate through your soul and your spirit, everything will change forever. I think that's when you'll unlock. I
probably understood every third word you said.
Same. I was just picking words.
But I do think that it makes for, can you imagine? Guys, I'm not the biggest writer, but I think that I'm going to have an amazing memoir.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, it's going to be haunting.
It's going to be really, really haunting. People are going to be reading it because they think it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be hopefully it doesn't end Scream, or Saw or something.
Yeah, those are definitely movies. I don't know if you saw. I'm back on Twitter, so I'm unfortunately back. I'm relegated back into the hellscape of that platform. And maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, there was this trend that was post your glow up, and it was all the gays posting their glow ups, and I'm not kidding when I say it was infant, a picture of you as an infant, and then you ripped with abs, and then there was some poor soul who posted him as a preschooler, 5-year-old, very similar childhood picture to you, the iconic image. And then it was him now, of course, so toned,
beefed,
crazy body. And the caption was I had to gut that bitch alive.
What do you mean gut that bitch alive? The 5-year-old child?
Your 5-year-old child self.
No.
Doesn't that break your heart?
It breaks my heart. They don't listen to Good Children.
No, definitely not. Definitely not our demographic. Although I'm not trying to throw shade at him because he did he tried to explain it afterwards. I just was this is nuts. You're always going to be experiencing your 8-year-old self.
Yeah. If I was to compare myself to any part of my life and do a transformation picture, I guess it would be a recent picture.
Yeah.
It would have to be. I was thinking 8th grade skinny face. But that's beyond me.
You can't even get those. You deleted every single image.
You'll never see those pictures ever in my life. That's so sad.
It's sad.
Because I would like to look back on my
burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm. No, again, I'm gonna have to skip that chapter in the book. That sucks. But I can ask you. You have it in your archive.
Of course I do. So Andrew, today what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about college. We're talking everything. And I know that we've talked about some specific moments in college, like a cappella and such, and different clubs and things that we went to school for.
Don't look at me and say clubs. What clubs?
Joe, you were in you had to be at least...
In college? No.
You had to be in like a wand club or something. Like
I did want to join
the wanded writing club.
I did want to join the Quidditch team, but I was too afraid.
What were you afraid of?
Socializing with my peers. Never did that once in my life.
I wasn't afraid of like actually doing the act of Quidditch.
No, I was actually like, I mean, think about it. This is me going into college. My first thought is, this is how I'm going to finally get skinny. I'm going to start working out by playing Quidditch.
Do they just run on like a stick?
It's a lot. It's a lot, but there's running and there's...
They're sure not flying.
No, but they run around. You have to have a stick between your legs.
Wow.
And you
I have
like
one.
someone, a physical person is the snitch. Like that person like runs around campus, I think. Immediately, I'd like to pivot. Speaking of college.
Please.
Did your school do, and I kind of doubt it, like Loyola versus zombies?
No, I think it would almost be like
about?
Loyola versus like the apostles.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Hofstra University used to do this thing every quarter called Hofstra versus Zombies. And these kids, bless their hearts, they would show up to class in full zombie paint. And just sit through like linguistics 102.
Like normal, like they were just like normally.
Yeah, but
there,
then
like,
when they're on the streets, they're zombies. When they're on campus, they're zombies. And they have to like tag other people who are playing the game, and it would turn those people into zombies. I didn't care for that.
So like I'm walking to class, I'm like heading to history, I get a tap on the shoulder, I'm like, fuck.
If you're like wearing an orange bandana, like a neon orange hunting bandana, that indicates you're playing the game.
Okay, so I'm like shit. I have to go to the bathroom and beat my face.
No, that's what I was. As I was describing that, I was like, I wonder if they all were obligated to do a full beatdown. Do they have glam teams?
That's wild. They probably sent them to the zombie glam. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. No, I would have loved that. That's some like big school shit. Like you went to a big school.
Sure.
Right? There was like a lot of people that went there.
I have no idea about anything.
I think at least 15,000. I think I know probably the enrollment of every single college across the country.
I'm sure that you do.
Because when I was applying, it was that was my Hunger Games. Was the application process to college.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. If I could have visited every single university in this country, I probably would have. And I still think to this day I want to go on tours.
I only visited one.
Hofstra?
No.
NYU.
Barron Trump just started his freshman year.
Wow, that's crazy that he made it in, but you didn't.
I know, isn't it shocking? It's strange, kind of.
It's shocking that you didn't.
Because I feel like we have very similar vibes.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably going to end up as a gay podcaster
I'm
soon.
sure he will, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you were really obviously very committed to getting into college and getting into a good college. Kind of seems like that was your entire goal for like the first 18 years of your life.
And then what happens, like, it kind of sucks because when you work towards a goal for 18 years and then it happens, like, where do you go after that? I think that honestly, it's kind of like I lost a sense of direction after I got into college because, like, what do I want to do? Because for 18 years,
the whole goal was just to get in.
I was building myself up.
That's actually very interesting to think about because you weren't like, I want to do this, I want to be this. You were just like, I want to get into a school. I want to get into a good school.
I want to be considered to be smart and well-rounded.
Yeah.
And I want to be a top-tier applicant for a lot of these schools. And then once you get there, you're kind of like, now I'm here. What's up? What?
Let me join the acapella club.
Yeah, you build yourself up to beat yourself down, to lose it all. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it this dark. I didn't mean to make this dark.
How did you lose it all?
Well, I wouldn't say like, listen, I only applied to like 10 schools, but I wouldn't necessarily say that after the 6 times I took a standardized exam.
That's so sick.
6 times. That
traveling all over the tri-state area for those two, right?
Yeah, of course. I think I mentioned this before, but I drove my final time to Princeton to do my ACT, and I got the same score every single time.
Listen, that's actually kind of admirable. It shows you know for a fact that is exactly what you are on that ACT.
And I'll never forget.
You should take it again.
I'll never forget that time when I was in New Jersey. I almost ended it all, like probably physically as well. But
why?
Because they said 10 more minutes, and I was halfway through the math section. halfway.
It's like,
and I was. Can you imagine? The amount of blood that was coursing through my veins, the adrenaline that was going. I was like, if I don't answer 30 questions in 10 minutes, and you know in the ACT, the questions only get harder. How do you remember any of this, Andrew? Because it's still in your brain. To me, that was traumatizing. Because to me, I was sitting in a city of a school that I would have loved to go to. I would have loved to go to Princeton. Look at me. I would have loved to go to Princeton. Okay, I would have loved it. But I was sitting in that school and I was stressed and sick and I got the same score every single time. And you know what? I'll come clean about the score I got. Because I want people to feel good out there as well. If you were to get a okay score, a low score, a high score, whatever. But I got a 26 every single time. And that wasn't bad.
Do you remember what I got?
Yeah.
What did I get?
I honestly think that you got, it ranges from either a 32 to a 34.
Okay.
And I remember when you told me, because I probably asked you, and I remember the feeling was very similar to like the Tower of Terror. The Tower of Terror. Because
your stomach sank.
Because I knew how much prep you put into it.
Which was none.
And for me, I had 2 different tutors. I worked around the clock.
At some point, isn't it like trying to teach a horse to swim? Like it just can't do that.
It's probably exactly what it was like.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my body's built to canter, not to a backstroke.
And I did feel like I was drowning. I felt like a horse that was drowning in water. And, you know, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you did that because I knew that you also wanted to go to NYU and you were going to be like the next Steven Spielberg or whatever. And you still are. And that doesn't matter if you didn't get in. You got waitlisted, right?
Got waitlisted and deferred.
Yeah. So I got a 26 and I remember opening up the email itself thinking I got like a 36 perfect score. Every single time. It was hit after hit after hit.
It's amazing how, like, it is really fascinating to me that you remember any of this information.
Yeah.
What were the SAT scores for both of us?
Okay, I got this. Do you want 3-part or 2-part?
You know both of them for both of us?
I think that I definitely know your 3-part.
What was it?
I think your 3-part was like a 2100, 21 something, 2150, 2400, which was pretty phenomenal, Joe.
Thank you.
Pretty phenomenal.
First time English? Was English on the SATs?
Yeah, you soared.
Of course. Yeah.
I think you got a perfect score on
what were the subjects?
It was English, math.
Oh wow.
And
science?
No, that's ACT. ACT was English, math, science, and writing. Yeah, I think that the SAT was just math
and English,
and then the writing section was the 3rd part.
Oh, which is basically English.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So
I hope to God they read it. What did you get? Sorry. You don't want to say?
My final time, I got an 1860.
Out of 2,400?
Correct. And
yes. No disrespect and no shade, because I think that standardized testing is a scam and bullshit, and I don't think anyone's scores reflect their intelligence at all. But I'm shocked by how much work you put into it.
So much.
To get that
My
result.
2-part was a 1,300, which was better out of 1,600. But because my writing section was abysmal, I probably was spelling words wrong. What was the word recently? Abysmal.
It was abysmal.
Joe sent me, because I've been captioning the TikToks lately, and I actually changed the spelling of abysmal because I was like, there is 0 chance that's how you spell abysmal. So yeah, that's something that I was suffering through. But imagine being a student that had 104 GPA.
Yeah.
Class president. I did every single club extracurricular. I thought I was going Ivy League. I worked myself to the bone. And you get a 26 on your ACT. There goes to students, unfortunately, there goes the hope of the dream.
I'm really surprised you lived through senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, we've always said that you're a very resilient person.
Yeah.
Because I'm shocked that you didn't throw yourself off a bridge.
I am.
I'm really shocked.
And I'll never forget, Leah Ragno said to my face, she said, where do you want to go to school? And I said, Georgetown. And she said, you're not getting into Georgetown. And I didn't. Yeah, and I didn't. So.
But look at you now.
I know, and that's why I love having this podcast, and I love this episode, because for our students, for our high school students, for our college students, it really doesn't matter.
And I've always known that.
I've
always gone through life with that mentality.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Especially college.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah,
no offense. If you're in college and you are not there to learn about something you're passionate about, or like something that will benefit you in the long run, and you're there just to like get good grades, you're wasting your college experience.
And a lot of money.
You're wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if you're not, like, I really regret not paying attention in every class I was in.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just need to my mentality was just, get through it, pass the class, move on with your life. But like, that's not the point of going to higher education.
No.
I really never should have gone.
The point of going to a prestigious school is because it opens up a network of people who work at some of the top tier companies around the world.
Yeah.
That's why you want to go there, because you're like, oh, I'm in. Don't even worry about it. That's why I chose Loyola, because Loyola it's not a super prestigious school, but it had a good business school. So I was like, okay, slay, I'm going to go to the business school. Even though I went there for political science, and then I almost got caught. You know what I mean? I was taken to the honor council, and I had to drop the major.
You had to drop the major for that reason?
I didn't have to drop the major, but the professor that I had was like one of the top people in the political science school, and I couldn't bear the idea of knowing that for the next 4 years she was taking me to the honor council for cheating. I couldn't bear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I said, I'm changing majors completely, and I'm going to business.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have suffered such a life. You have suffered such a life.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That's the thing. I hate to keep bringing up the honor council. Can you imagine being told that you're being taken to the honor council, and then immediately after that news she shares, I have to get into a minivan with everybody from my class to a local high school to read them books.
And you can't read.
And I can't read. To high school students, I had to read them books.
Whoa, wait.
Yeah,
Was
grade.
it like
No.
What do you...
We were just like talking to them. We were like, hey guys.
It was like
we go to Loyola down the street. It was like a middle to high. It was like 6 to 12.
And you were reading
and it was like
them
6 to 9.
books? Like they were...
Yeah, we're like reading them books. We were like talking about political science. We were like talking about philosophy and John Locke and like those things.
Okay. It's so fascinating. You're an endless well. Every time I think we've gotten there, I find a deeper well.
Mm-hmm. And I bet a lot of people wish they can go deeper with me.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone for sure.
Now, what about you? Like, what's your deeper well? Like, did you have anything?
College?
Yeah, anything, at least freshman year. We can go year by year.
Yeah.
We can go.
So, I mean, I remember vividly my first intro to, well, my main reason that I didn't want to go away to school, besides the fact that I was like codependent with my mother, was like I did not want to share a bathroom or a shower. I think that was number one. And it's just so crazy to me. Like, and I'm trying my best to get away from even rationalizing this or discussing this in this frame of reference, because I don't think it's helpful or useful. But like the fact that the only reason that was the case was because like I was fat and gay, you know, like I have to wonder what my life would have been like if those two things did not limit what I believed I could and should do.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go away to school because I didn't want anyone to ever see me with no clothes on. That was the only reason I did not go away to school, was because I did not want to get into a public shower, which I know you chose Loyola because private showers, private bathrooms, and hundreds of schools across the country are that. But that was number one for me. So I chose Hofstra also because I didn't care. Like I did not care. I did an on-campus interview at my school. They came to St. Anthony's. I sat down with a person. We had a conversation for 5 minutes. They handed me my scholarship immediately. They told me this is how much money we're going to give you. I said, great, I'm going to go here. And that was in October. And I was done for the rest. And I clocked out of high school. I didn't pay attention to anything. I was like, I'm going here. I'm done. And that was it.
That's so wild. I remember those interviews.
I loved them. They would always just throw money at you.
They were throwing money. They were like, please come here.
Come to Adelphi.
But I didn't sit down with Hofstra. I sat down with St. John's. Why was I only applying to Catholic schools?
You have a lot of shit to work through.
I have a lot of shit to go through and work through. But
I wish I remembered those interviews themselves. So what did they ask us?
They probably asked us like where, like what major.
I'd like to be at one point, maybe I want to go into business and do this.
I can't do it because it's almost offensive. I wanted to direct films.
I definitely was not directing films at this point. I was saying I was going to business school.
Yeah, you were going to business school. But you like to write too.
I was at Zarb.
Yeah, you were at Zarb.
I was at the Zarb Business School honors program.
No offense, you were a businessman in your own right. And I think that you run businesses. Look at us. Look at like you are an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. But I don't pin you as somebody who would have went to a business school.
I had to drop out the first year. I found actually a screenshot because I recently told the story about how I told my parents I was going to switch majors. Yep. No. Everyone was wrong. What happened was I decided to add a double major because after watching season 1 of Gilmore Girls, I wanted to be like Rory Gilmore and become a journalist. So I added journalism onto my major and was double majoring. And then I got an email from the head of the business program that was like, you can't major in business and communications. Like you can't
You're
do
like,
that.
Have you heard of business journalism?
I was like, it was a horrible mentality, but that's when I was like, oh, I have to make a choice here.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, I'm going with Gilmore.
Whoa, I actually would have loved if you did business and journalism and you were writing for the Wall Street Journal.
Can you imagine?
And if I went with the path that I was going on, I'd be
writing
reading
about
it.
your white collar crime.
I'd be exactly. I'd be reading that article.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was recently having a conversation with my mother. And sometimes I look back on my major because I was a finance major. And it's so easy to say, I really threw away that major. Or why did I go to school for finance? Or like, what a waste of a major. But no, you know what? You still learn a lot of tangible skills.
Oh, for sure.
Do I know how to handle my finances?
No.
Barely. Have I always had a savings? Sometimes. Do I invest in stocks? No. Do I know anything about Wall Street?
No.
The men?
Oh.
But I know a thing or two about Wall Street.
I would say, if I were to say something that you've taken away clearly from business school, is your ability to walk into a room and speak to any single person and figure out how to connect that person to something that you want. Mm-hmm. That's business.
That is business. And that is networking. That's what they teach you in business school. That's why you go to different events. You meet with these people. You know how to schmooze. You know how to do things. Mm-hmm. And from there, I am never afraid. And this is a good learning lesson, I think, for everybody.
You are never afraid.
I'm not afraid to go up to somebody and say, what is it that you do? And then they tell you and you say, oh, that's so funny. And then you relate it back to yourself. And then you open the conversation and the dialogue. And then by the end of it, they say, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to put you in contact with Joey Bozo because Joey Bozo knows how to, you know, grow a podcast. And you're like, that's crazy. I would love to talk to Joey Bozo. But for me, college was a time I wish I could go back. I really wish I can go back.
That freaks me out that you're even saying that.
Well, there's a few reasons I want to go back. And one, it's the dining hall.
Oh. So you actually just want to go, like, you just wish you could go back to college.
I wish I had a meal plan.
28-year-old man.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to college as a 28-year-old.
So that was your glory days. Yeah, kind of was.
Kind of was.
Kind of was.
Kind of was, because when you look back on it, and I feel like now I'm like trying to join a gay swim team. You know what I mean?
You've been trying to do that for 4 years.
I know. But because when I was in college, I could join any club I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was overworking myself in these clubs nonstop. I wanted to do everything. I didn't join. I mean, what did I do? Student government, that ate up most of my time. Campus ministry.
Evergreens, is that?
Evergreens. Orientation leader.
Chimes.
I was in chapel choir. I was in chimes. I was in student government. There had to be some other things that I tried. I think I was in a Spanish club for a second because I loved my professor. She was stunning. Luz Maria.
So to bring it back to my fear of bathrooms.
Yeah.
I remember I'm commuting to college. Mm-hmm. I'm like, great. I'm going to go 2 days a week. I set my schedule up. I go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 2 days a week. I do this for all 3.5 years that I go to school. It's perfect for me. I have to stay at school at Hofstra for a week for orientation. That was not a week. I'm sorry. It was 2 days. It was 2 nights.
Felt like a week for you.
It felt like a week. And I was miserable. Yeah. Miserable that I had to do that. I get paired up with the roommate. First of all, I am the first person there. I am the first person to sign in at orientation. I have my shower caddy. Mm-hmm. I had to buy all this shit too, despite not being someone who's living in a dorm. I had to buy sheets for my bed.
Of course you did.
So I'm bringing everything up into my room. I'm the first person. Keep that in mind. I open my door. My roommate's naked, sleeping in bed. No sheets.
What do you mean?
No sheets, naked.
Naked how?
Completely nude.
But face down or
face down? Face down.
Okay.
Why would that make a difference, Andrew?
I was just wondering because I think that would have been extremely intimate.
Well, it was intimate regardless. And then...
Because you are a top.
It was intimate regardless. And then I don't remember much about orientation, but I'll never forget. One night, it's around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I was hanging out with some of my girls outside. I went to go to sleep. I think he's sleeping. He wakes up.
No.
He wakes up around 2 or 3 a.m. Again, it's pitch black. I think I was watching the Mindy Project on my phone. Headphones in. I hear him trying to speak to me. I take out my headphone. He says, "So how do you feel about guns?" I am texting my Facebook Messenger group chat of my 2 friends from high school, Emily and Frank, and I'm saying, I'm about to get murdered.
I'm about to get shot.
I'm about to get murdered. Yeah. And I remember when I first tried to make small talk with him, I said, "These are comfy beds, huh?" Like sarcastically. And he said, "This is the first bed I've had to sleep on in a decade." And I find that hard to believe.
Since he was 8?
In a decade.
Well, you never know.
You never know. You never know. But that was the gist of our interactions. And then I would see him around for the next couple of years, and we'd like almost smile at each other. I don't think he enjoyed my presence.
Well, I'm wondering was he pro-gun?
For certain.
Well, I'm sure he sniffed some gayness on you.
Well, I think I was like, yeah, I love those.
Yeah, I'm sure. If someone who's pro-gun was asking you when you were 18 years old,
how do you feel about guns? I was like, you know,
they do their job, they do their thing.
Like, that's awesome.
It's like shoot down. Yeah, that's amazing.
Jesus. Yeah,
that's horrible. I loved a freshman orientation.
Of course,
obviously, because like I couldn't get enough. Then I wanted to lead them, right? But I picked up my outfits. I know exactly what I wore. I wore that mint green Vineyard Vines t-shirt. It had like 3 little fish on it that said Vineyard Vines underneath it with my seersucker shorts.
Yeah.
And probably 1 constrictive tank underneath.
Only 1?
I think 1 to 2.
Okay.
1 to 2. And I think the other shirt was like, you remember that orangey Vineyard Vines when I had the short sleeve? The back was like a baby blue big fish.
Wasn't a whale?
No, wasn't a whale on that one. Now you're thinking about the blue long sleeve.
You had so many of these shirts.
I had so many Vineyard. Well, obviously, I was going to Loyola. Everybody was wearing it. So I had to fit in. I
never really worried much about fitting in.
Oh, that's all I cared about. All I cared about was people seeing me as fitting in. Because, Joe, I was working through a lot.
I wanted to stand out.
Oh, I wanted to fit the fuck in. I wanted to fit in something.
But you would never fit in. I feel like you always stood out.
Because I was probably the loudest one there.
Yeah.
I was the loudest one in the group.
And I like wouldn't speak.
By the end of it, I was like, I have these best friends.
And like every single icebreaker, I would just like be like wanting to kill myself in the corner.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the icebreaker that we do with taking our shoes off?
And you pass it to the person next to you or something? Or
no,
something?
You're thinking about the chives that I sipped through a sock. Yeah. No, this one is like you stand in a circle and one person, everybody takes their shoes off, but there's one less shoe. No, but then you have to run around. It's like one person standing there in the circle and it's like, I have 2 brothers. And whoever has 2 brothers runs to a different pair of shoes. And if you don't run to a pair of shoes, you're in the middle and you have to ask the question. But everyone's shoes were off. That shit stunk. Because I was wearing Sperry's. And you know about my Sperry's. Sockless. No, at the time I was wearing no-shows.
Your Sperry's were fermenting in the heat.
Yeah.
I feel like you probably could have made a kombucha from your Sperry's.
But I get that's probably why people wear Sperry's is because like they're meant for like sailing and like they're probably meant to get like a little bit wet.
They're coming back in style.
They are. I see so many people in Sperry's.
Yeah, they're really back. Boat shoes are back.
And you know my feet are about
you have to get them
immediately.
Soon. You kind of need them.
Right?
Yeah.
I kind of have to put them on my feet again. I kind of feel like it's going to be like the glass slipper for Cinderella.
Honestly, it's fall. I love fall, and fall typically inspires me to start cooking in the kitchen again.
Yeah, because for the summer, sometimes I'm like, I'm going to order out. I'm going to do my thing. But fall, I'm trying to cook good meals for myself.
Like a nice chilly Sunday afternoon.
Oh.
But you know what's horrible with cooking? Going to the store, having to portion out your ingredients,
figuring out what recipe I'm going to use.
And with HelloFresh, all of those issues are eliminated with the click of a button.
click of a button. And the thing is, the recipes that they're coming up with are fantastic. The ingredients are top quality. The food is exquisite. Exquisite. I'm cooking steak dinners. I didn't even think I was going to be cooking steak dinners for myself. I'm cooking steak dinners.
It is really amazing. And I mean, HelloFresh saves me time.
Yeah.
HelloFresh saves me time. It saves me money. And above all else, it truly saves me stress. The worst is trying to cook, trying to do a good thing for yourself and being stressed over everything. My ingredients are already prepared for me. All I have to do is make the dish. I feel like a true chef.
Yeah, you are a true chef. And the thing is, there's a bunch of different eaters out there. And that's okay. HelloFresh knows that. So you can swap your proteins, you can swap your veggies, you can choose what type of meals you want to make. That's customizable. Okay? That's custom meals.
And for free breakfast for life, go to hellofresh.com/freegoodchildren.
One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Free breakfast for life by going to hellofresh.com/freegoodchildren.
It's an unbelievable offer.
That's amazing.
And that's why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Andrew, how is your erectile dysfunction lately?
It's actually been doing pretty well.
Really?
For me, yeah. I've definitely been cruising along. I've definitely been slaying the game. I've definitely been confident in the bedroom.
Well, why?
Because I'm using Rocket RX.
Isn't it always Rocket RX?
It's always Rocket RX. And the thing is, sometimes I get a little bit anxious. Sometimes I'm not ready, but I want to be.
So I think it's a great thing to use. It's not anything embarrassing or shameful.
No, not at all. And I want to have fun. And
you can get FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower price than branded alternatives. Discreet shipping. All you have to do is fill out an online questionnaire and get it sent to your door.
For listeners, you get 20% off at rocketrx.com by using the code GOODCHILDREN.
Use code GOODCHILDREN at checkout at rocketrx.com to get 20% off your first order.
That's 20% off your first order at rocketrx.com when you use the code GOODCHILDREN at checkout.
Follow the link in our description.
The thing about college, can we talk roommates for a second?
Yeah, of course.
I'm just gonna do it.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
It's not my story.
Okay. So my freshman year, I went in without a roommate, and I think that's really smart for people to go in there without,
to make a friend.
Make a friend, because if
otherwise
then you're just together nonstop. Not smart. Anyways, decided to go with a random roommate. He was really sweet. He was a really, really sweet man, and I'll protect his name. We weren't similar by any means. Very much a gamer, which is a slay. The first week, we would wake up and his alarm clock, you want to talk guns?
I know.
You want to talk gun for guns?
In common, yeah.
His alarm clock was a machine gun going off with screams.
There were screams.
Joe, there were screams.
Can you imitate it for me?
It was like this.
You're kidding.
Joe, I swear to God. Can you imagine? I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, what the fuck is that? My alarm clock hasn't went off yet, and you know my alarm clock is Good Morning Baltimore because I am in Baltimore. It has to be. I said to myself, if I'm going to Baltimore, Nikki Blonsky's gonna wake me up.
I remember you saying this.
His gunshots. But the thing is, and this is why I've lost respect for people who can't wake up after their first alarm. You. I can't imagine gunshots. And you're not up.
Yeah, I understand that.
You would just constantly sleep. And it got to a point, I let it go for 4 days of him sleeping through his alarm. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to have to say something about the alarm and about the fact that he needs to wake up. So I said something. I said, hey, listen, is there any way that you can change your alarm clock? Just because I think it's a little bit off-putting for me when I wake up in the morning, especially when you're not waking up from it. He said, yeah, I can change it.
And that's an amazing example of conflict resolution.
Exactly.
Just saying not even abruptly, saying kindly what you need.
And I think I've lost sight of that because honestly, I'll let things go on for a really long time and I don't say shit.
Yeah.
But this...
in that moment, you knew.
Because I was like, I'm living with him for the next year. It's 4 days in. I give him 4 days. And he didn't fix the problem. So he changed it to ducks quacking, which was honestly better.
Baltimore Ducks.
Ducks, very cute, very, very cute, like the Orioles.
Yeah, what did Baltimore? I'm sorry,
Baltimore Ducks.
Baltimore Ducks.
The Long Island Ducks. So that was the introduction to him at the beginning. He was in my Mesina class, which Mesina at Loyola was like every single week you met with, like, it was like an experiential class, whatever.
Well, that's not enough of an explanation for that.
Okay, so Mesina, it was when I was an Evergreen, when I was an orientation leader, I would have a group of 15 kids for the entire year. That was my Mesina. They would meet once a week. So it was like a built-in group of people that you always had for a year. You had that one person that was older than you that was your Evergreen that would be giving you advice.
Okay.
I've had people come out to me and I wasn't even gay.
They knew.
Well, they knew. They felt comfortable with me. I was sitting on the chapel steps with them.
Ally.
I was an ally, and I was like, "That's amazing. If you identify as bisexual, I support you. Okay, I support you, and I believe in you." And they saw me on Grindr.
I have to say that's pretty impressive. Like, I don't think I would ever be able to come out to someone who was so obviously closeted.
Yeah,
I would feel like I was putting, honestly, like an undue burden onto them. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
Like when I clock a closeted T, I'm like, we're not going to talk about sexuality.
No.
Because I'm like, that would make you panic.
Yeah.
Were you panicking?
I wasn't panicking. I was like, you know what? You deserve to live your truth. I was probably telling him everything I wanted to hear.
Of course, yeah.
So I was like, you deserve to live your truth. Everyone's going to love you for it. Like, just be yourself. And then he did. He became gay.
Okay.
He became gay. Anyways, back to my roommate. We're about halfway through the year. No, sorry, halfway through the first semester. It's about a month and a half in. Midterms come along. And for me, you know, I'm sick. I'm studying. I'm locking myself in the library. Midterms come along. I walk into my room one day. It's 3:30 p.m. Pitch black. I'm like, what's going on in here? He's sleeping. I'm like, okay, I need to make some noise. I need to turn on the TV. I need to like rattle the windows, like pull up the blinds. He wakes up. What time is it?
I'll never forget this.
What time is it? I said, it's 3:30 p.m. He missed his midterm. I'm now bearing the stress and the sickness for him. He goes, I'll figure it out. And honestly,
did he figure it out?
He figured it out. And that's more than I could have said, because I would have crumbled, I would have shut down, and I would have been sick and sobbing.
I would have been just like him.
But it was a really good learning lesson. Let's just say by the end of the semester, things didn't work out for us, and he ended up moving out of the room. And since I experienced what I thought was a troublesome roommate that I couldn't be with any longer, I didn't get another roommate. So I had the room to myself. I made really his bed a couch.
That's really nice.
And I had a sign in my room, and this is disgusting. Looking back on it, I can't even believe. It was a brat green sign. Big, big, big. With the little font that said, "Get up at my trap house."
I was almost going to say it.
Get up at my trap house. Did I even know what that meant?
No shot in hell.
No shot.
No shot in hell.
But our freshman year was solidified by
Get up at my trap house.
Get up at my trap house and Fetty Wap.
Fetty Wap had one eye in a dream, and he took over.
And he made me see for the first time with both eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my freshman year. So if you have a troubling roommate situation, just realize it gets better.
My freshman year I was getting a lot of pumpkin spice lattes. I remember that. I had a fish tank. I had a fish tank. I was very into my fish tank at home. And it's really funny because today actually is the day
10 years later.
10 years later. And I have a fish tank again. And my snails are being delivered as we speak. Batman snails. Look it up. Look them up. They're gorgeous. I gained about 30 pounds, which is crazy because it's not like I was living on campus.
Isn't that what they say freshman? Oh, it's the freshman 15.
But I don't know how I personally, like, again, I was not living on campus. I think I was really unhappy.
Yeah.
But I was thrilled with the au bon mac and cheese. That made me very, very happy. So it was au bon mac and cheese, the Mindy Project, pumpkin spice latte. That usually marked a good day for me. My sister Amanda was going to law school at Hofstra, so we would commute together. She would drive me home. That was very fun. We'd hang out in between classes. I kind of forgot that like we went to school together actually.
That's kind of a really crazy situation.
I've never seen it from that perspective. For 2 years, we were in school together.
That's kind of really beautiful.
It is really sweet. That also explains why I wasn't like deeply suicidal, because at least I had Amanda there.
I was wondering, like, genuinely, what was it like to have to be driven and picked up? And
that was tough. Yeah, because if you don't know, which I think you probably do know, I don't have a license. So I was... What? No, people do this. People live like this. I can't talk. This is just like gutting the child self. I can't be mean about this person. He was doing his best. The idea of signing up to commute to college with no license, no prospects, no money, no hopes, no dream, a lot of dreams. I would get driven most days by my mom, who would drive me and pick me up from class. That was mortifying, obviously. In retrospect, sweet that we had those commutes. Very nice that we had that. And then she drove me to my first job after college as well. Every single day, picked me up and drove me to work at the newsroom at Newsday.
Did you feel...
Yes, I did feel pathetic.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
I'm sorry. I kept asking, like, I wanted you to say it. Like, it's horrible.
Yes, it's horrible. Pathetic.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder I'm the way I am now. Like I had to stare patheticism in the eye every single day of my life. I'm just going to speak over this fan. We're going to have to accept that every 15 minutes to 10 minutes, you're going to hear this slight fan noise for the rest of our time making this podcast.
Yeah.
I felt like the biggest loser.
But the biggest loser who gave the most.
Yes, yeah. I couldn't even be the biggest. Like, Jillian Michaels wouldn't even want me, which is the worst part. But I did make one friend. Lindsay Mitchelson was like my one friend in college. And I was so relieved to have found Lindsay. We were like my only friend. We were both really deeply into social justice. We were like really, really, really like growing with each other, adjusting. We both hated Hofstra. We were both like, we're too good for this shit. Like, we need to get out of here. End of the year, she transfers out. My one friend transferred out.
You couldn't even hold her there.
She went back to Pennsylvania.
That sucks.
It sucked for me. It really sucked for me because I was like, oh, I actually put all of my eggs in one basket, and I was so relieved that I had a friend. And then Lindsay went back to PA.
Have you stayed in contact with her?
Of course, yeah. Lindsay's on my close friends list to this day. That's the way we basically stay in contact.
I'm sorry for Lindsay. What do you mean she's on your close friends list?
I'm not posting nothing crazy.
No, you haven't been posting.
I'll post a butt from here and there, but it's never like that deeply sexual.
Yeah, no. You're not like my close friends.
But yeah, that was my main freshman year. I feel like that's when it's when I read the Song of Achilles, because you drove me to the library because you made me study for my tests. And you said I'm going to leave you here with no phone. You're going to study for your macroeconomics exam, and then I'll pick you up in 8 hours.
Yeah.
That
was like, I've always been a coach.
Yes.
I always wanted to lead a boot camp.
Me, I don't think I even asked you to. I think you spoke to my mother and you guys planned that together.
I'm going to say, we'll know that Joe is at the library.
And
I'm going to take his phone.
I rented a copy of the Song of Achilles and read the whole book instead. And then I failed that exam. It was 4 questions. I got 1 right.
And I'm sure it wasn't crazy. I'm sure they probably went over those questions in class.
Andrew, I'm sure, but I have ADHD.
And
so does everyone else in the world. I know, but I just couldn't do it. I was just like, I want to be famous. Like, I was like, I can't be in macroeconomics.
Yeah. I wanted to be famous in that finance department. That's how I saw it. If I was there, I was doing it.
Good for you.
And you had a different dream. You should have just went to LA.
I know.
And lived your life.
I should have just, I don't really necessarily think, and I don't want to sound pompous, but and what else is new? I don't think I learned anything in school that I didn't teach myself. Except maybe how to shoot on film, like shoot a movie on film, which we did. Otherwise, it was like I learned how to use Avid and Premiere, which I already taught myself in high school, and like Photoshop, which I taught myself. I appreciated the film history classes.
Yeah. You're a very advanced mind.
Because that's why my head's so big.
That's why your head's so big. And before, I put on a little wig cap and we were screaming. Both of us were shocked.
Almost appalling.
It was appalling.
How tiny your head is.
I have the smallest little head you've ever seen.
That's so good. Like, you could wear every hat ever. I can't.
Yeah, I can wear every hat ever, but like then we really second guess the buzz cut. So who's to say? But I think I'm still gonna rock it. And like even if I have a small head, I can wear a hat.
You kind of need to do the buzz cut.
I'm gonna do the buzz cut. I feel like I'm feeling good about my body. I'm feeling good about my head. Both. And I'm ready to go. Did you know I was gonna transfer?
To where?
Notre Dame.
Would they have let you?
Well, I didn't go through with the process.
So you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know if they wanted me or not.
Okay. But I kind of felt like I remembered that about you.
Yeah, because I visited.
I'm sure it was one of those things you didn't tell me, but I found out about through someone else in your presence.
Because I'll never forget. Do you remember Alex Shellhorn?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So cute. So sweet. I visited him at the beginning of the second semester at Notre Dame in Indiana. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to send it. I went for a weekend. I had the best time of my entire life. Gorgeous campus. Went to the football game. That's where I saw Chris Christie's daughter. I think I've said this story before. And I was like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to be
a part of the Christie dynasty.
I'm going to be a part of the Christie dynasty. I'm actually going to be the next governor of New Jersey. Because it's still in my delusional head at that point. I went to school for finance, but I was going to run for office. And I know that this podcast is really incriminating, and I think I've said some really disgusting things that I probably won't be able to come back from.
Yeah.
But I don't think that office is out of question for me. I definitely will be in an office.
I really sincerely mean it. You would only be able to run on the Republican ballot.
Why?
Because they are willing to take anyone. They are willing to take anyone. Look at George Santos. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, they are actual. And I'm being just so sincere. They'll take anyone.
I get.
All you have to do is just go full down that pipeline and just start saying crazy shit, and you will be a hero to them.
You don't think the Democrat Party would take me? Look at me. I think I've spoken a lot of things like on this podcast. I feel like they would be like, "We love you. You're gay."
I think that maybe some, but I don't think it would really work too.
Okay, so what? That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That sucks, but like it's something that I'll have to accept in 20 years from now. And when I'm running against AOC,
when
then what?
I'm having to issue a statement where I'm like, I understand that I shared a lot of values in common with this person, but now that he is running for office, I want to like explicitly endorse the other candidate. Like, that's going to be a crazy day in our friendship history, a crazy episode of the podcast.
It's honestly probably going to feel exactly like the day that I didn't choose you for cupcakes.
And oh my God, speaking of this shirt. Speaking of that, oh no, cupcakes. I thought you meant when you didn't choose me as campaign manager.
Same thing.
Because Minhal actually reached out recently.
I saw that.
And said if he, Minhal, for those who may remember, season 1, when Andrew was running for political office in 5th grade, and he didn't choose me as his campaign manager, and God bless Minhal Ahmed, he chose me as his campaign manager. I got shirts made. We had Vote for Minhal shirts made.
I know.
Same style as Vote for Pedro. Didn't matter. Andrew still won. Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, talent. Sorry, Minhal, but if you like mozzarella, vote for Muscarella. You can't beat that.
Did shake me up because I cried a lot. I'll never forget. I cried a lot
with the t-shirts.
Yeah, I think I cried in front of Minhal and his family. I think I did. No, being serious, I remember him being like, "I'm getting shirts that say vote for Minhal." And can you imagine? Because this is the thing about voting. Normally, I mean, now we live in a world where people sport anything, you know, when it comes to voting for a president. But
my Harris Walls hat hasn't come yet.
It's back. It's back ordered.
Yeah, they told me. They're like, sorry for the delay.
So there's so many people ordering.
I know, but I see all these pictures in Brooklyn with them already.
They have a plug. You know what I mean?
It's
literally. But knowing that you're going up for election and you see people in school wearing a shirt with your opponent's name on it, knowing that they're not going to vote for you, it's a sick feeling. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
That's politics, girl. It's tough.
It's tough. Politics is really, really tough. And I learned that from a very, very young age. So I'm sorry I didn't choose you as your campaign manager. I fully support you not supporting me in the presidential election in 2050. And I understand... You know, I understand what platform I'm going to run on, and it's going to be mostly like I'm going to be really, really socially liberal.
Great.
Holy hell.
Back to college.
What
were you saying?
I couldn't even tell you what I was saying.
Oh, Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, I was gonna go to Notre Dame just because it was fun. And Loyola was a bar school, and I couldn't risk anymore the idea of getting my fake ID taken because I got multiple fake IDs. I was the plug for everyone's fake ID in college.
Why didn't you get me one?
Because I probably felt like you were going to judge me if I was to ask you if you wanted the fake ID.
Can you imagine? Like, I can't even imagine.
I got on the order with John Paul. You probably would be like, you two are both degenerates who don't want to do anything with their lives.
You're going to drink in college.
You're going to drink in college.
I had a fake ID.
You're going to take the MARC train from Baltimore to DC and pick up 20 fake IDs and cross state lines. Yeah.
That's crazy of you.
Crazy. It was crazy.
That is giving federal offense boots.
No, it was a federal offense. Oh, absolutely. I was taking people's pictures in their dorm rooms. I was getting all of the information taken.
I remember taking mine so vividly.
And does my face give...
Facetune mine.
Of course. But why would you do that though? Because if
why
you
would you even get a fake ID in the first place? Or?
No, why would you Facetune your fake ID?
Because at this point in my psychosis, I believed that I looked more like the Facetune version of myself than the pictures I was taking. I was like, no, if I just slim this shit down, that looks like my face.
So if you were to go to a bar and they looked at that
picture, I didn't
look
crazy different.
Yeah. But like, you wouldn't be going to a bar.
I never went. It was like a prop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looked horrible because, as we know, the person who got mine was arrested.
Correct.
The ID was held as evidence in federal court, and then once he got out of court, he made them again and sent them to us, Diego.
Oh, that's really sweet of him, though. Yeah, he really took one for the team. Mine
had Northwest.
Was from Connecticut.
Mine was South Carolina.
You give South Carolina. Mine was Connecticut and then Illinois. Sorry. Does my face give Illinois?
Your face gives... Yeah.
I think it could.
I don't think you could have been born anywhere besides New York.
I agree. With this nose?
The whole face. It's very New York.
It is very...
Maybe LA. I think you're one of the two coastal elite cities with that face.
That's actually a beautiful way to put that, like, I was a star in the making.
Yeah, because I think everyone would agree. I can't really picture you... I could see you in Maryland. I could see you being born in Maryland. I could see you being born in maybe
You don't think my face
I hate to say the D word, Delaware. I think East Coast. I'm sorry about LA. You're definitely an East Coast face.
I'm definitely Northeast, like East. I think I could be born in Philly.
I think you could have been born in Philly.
If you guys think that I could have been born anywhere, you let me know because
comment below what state you think Andrew should have been born in. Take one good look at that face right now and then decide.
All right. Well, with college, I mean, there's so much to talk about college, and I don't know if we really want to get into it, but like, we've talked about the drinking before. We've talked about the binging. We've talked about my first girl that I ever kissed.
Andrew Muscarella is really good at hooking up. And again, I thought that was kissing for me. I thought that was going to be kissing for me. It wasn't good. I don't think I kissed anyone in college.
I smoked a cigarette. Last cigarette I ever smoked.
I did kiss someone in college. Never mind. Thank God.
Who?
Well, I started going on dates like before my senior year. Like
True.
Gay dates.
Gay dates?
Yeah, I came out to my family before I finished college, and I was like on dates already at that point.
For some reason, I heard senior year
of high school. Imagine
you didn't come clean to me about going on.
No,
gay
but I was
dates.
on the apps. I was on Grindr freshman year of college. I was like gay on campus.
Were you sending nudes?
Oh, always, girl. And somehow they haven't leaked.
It's like, all right. I'm kind of like, all right, you guys. Yeah. No one cares about me. I look at my name every single day.
Someone commented, actually, oh my God. Someone commented on one of my fucking reels of me as the devil, and their comment, it actually killed me. It was like, I have never been able to look at your content ever since you almost threw up on that podcast and you left it in. I don't know how anyone could possibly see you in a sexual light. Unsolicited on the video of me dressed up as the devil. I wasn't.
Wait, you mean like one of the recent clips?
Yes. And then I was like, was that crazy to include? But it's like, I actually don't give a fuck.
I don't think it was crazy.
But also, it was me as the devil. I wasn't asking you to see me in a sexual light. I didn't bring up being sexual. I was in a red leotard. with a tail moving behind me.
I
didn't ask you to see me sexually.
Just because you almost threw up.
Oh, did you never throw up in your life, bitch?
You ever sucked a dick? I'm sure he's gagging all the time. Shut up.
Was gay happening at all?
Senior year.
That was it. Nothing, like not even like to anyone prior.
Not to anyone prior. No, not at all. Not even a slight inclination. Well, I mean, everyone knew, but no one really questioned.
You never even checked an app?
Never checked an app. Was only exclusively like watching gay porn.
But of course.
But not until senior year, once I lived with my roommate John, who was very gay and had boyfriends all the time. He helped me on my gay journey again, but we've said this before, the worst advice he could have ever given me was using a vaginal douche. For sure.
Have you ever corroborated that story with him?
No, I honestly should text him right after this and say, do you still use vaginal douches?
And he's going to say, I never did.
Okay, I'm going to message him after this. I think that's a really good way to reach back out. I think also I was on the apps at the time, but it's sad because I had it the entire year and I never met up with a single person.
I mean,
there was something though about being at a college in a bigger city, not knowing if, like, I would have liked to hook up with somebody from my university. Mm-hmm. I think I would have felt better about that, but like reaching out to the broader Baltimore community and having someone in my dorm room just didn't sit right with me. It just kind of felt like I'm putting everybody in this room at risk if something was to go wrong, and I couldn't do that to my suite mate. So that's why I didn't do anything in college.
That's why?
Yeah. I wasn't sending nudes though, I can tell you that. Because I didn't feel good about that.
I was sending nudes in high school.
I know you were sending nudes in high school because you and your freak friends, you and your freak friends would send each other nudes.
Yeah. Look at us, Andrew. We were just naked on these chairs 2 weeks ago.
I know.
Is it freaks? Or is it embracing your humanity?
I'm the problem here. It seems like
maybe
I'm
not.
the common.
No, I don't think that anyone should be sending nudes in high school. I want to make that really loud.
Oh well, I completely. But you were like
18.
Senior year.
Yeah.
But still, weird, bizarre. But at least you were comfortable and free with yourself. I think that I was very pent up and very conservative when it came to my body for a very long time until we went to the nude beach together.
Oh, everything. So as of a month and a half ago?
Yeah, well, at least with friends.
Oh,
I mean, I'm always showing this donk. I'm always showing this ass.
You haven't been able to keep your pants on since the nude beach, I guess. Yeah,
no.
That ass is always out.
Always out. But now I'm like asking you guys, like sometimes there's like holes in my shorts, and I'm like, can you see ball? Can you see ball flap? And you guys could.
What the fuck is ball flap?
You know what a ball flap is. It's like when there's like extra. I'm sorry to the listeners. I forget. I'm on a podcast sometimes. When there's like extra moisture and like it kind of like attaches to the side of your leg.
DSTL?
Yeah, exactly. What?
Why'd you agree? Dick stuck to leg.
Yeah. But it's not in my dick. It's like BSDL.
To TL.
Yeah.
BSTL.
Yes.
Bestiality. The FBI is still coming for you for that.
You want to talk about bestiality? Let's talk about you sexualizing Bigfoot. In every regard.
I have no problem, but that's different. He's anthropomorphic.
You would still suck a bit. Let's actually.
What would I suck?
Let's get.
What would I suck? What would I suck?
Something. I was gonna say you would suck a bear's dick if they had one.
No, I would not. Well, first of all, they do have penises.
Where?
I can't. They're mammals. How do you think they reproduce? Have you been up close to a bear before? Or you just
and that is proof positive right there where I'm not into bestiality because I would know where their dick was. And I would know what the dick would look like.
You. I just want to circle back. You've told the story at least 15 times on this podcast, and you've told it to several of our high-profile guests that you were on your computer and a virus popped up that said that you were being arrested for zoophilia and bestiality. And that's what I was referencing. I was never once making a claim that you were into bestiality. And I clearly struck a deep chord, and I'm sorry.
Well, yes, everything that you just said was true. So I appreciate and I'm sorry that I got really worked up about it, but I just feel like I've had to defend myself for a lot of things.
Well, I would
when
say
it comes to bestiality.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say for everything.
Yeah, and I just couldn't have another rumor out there about me, because it's like, what else are people saying about me?
I did just scroll back to our Instagram, and I saw the picture of you that said pro-vax, pro-science.
Which I can't believe we did that at the beginning of the podcast. People were like, and during COVID, during the time that people were getting vaccines.
Yeah, you said you were anti-vax.
I did say I was anti-vax. I stand by it.
I'm kidding. Don't make these jokes.
I'm kidding. I have every single vaccine. I have every single everything. But it's different when you make a social cut or you post it to the internet, because then people believe that shit.
So,
anyways,
what would you say? What would you say the best experience of your college? What was the highlight of your college experience? It was the chimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely being in an a cappella group was the highlight of my college experience, because I experienced what it felt like to be famous for the first time. And I was able to play. I was able to have fun. I was able to have a group of guys that I felt comfortable with. And I think that for me, aside from you and probably John Paul, you were my two like guy friends, but I never really was around guys very often.
Yeah.
So I felt included. And again, I wanted to fit in, and they were all straight. Can you imagine?
I can't. I really can't. I really can't to this day imagine that.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, this is amazing. No, that and probably Evergreens, which was the orientation group, aside from abroad, because if you have the opportunity, you have to do it. What about you?
I would argue it was my junior year film class where I had to make my first short film. I made Love Potion.
I love that fucking thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was definitely, to me, like, our class was obligated to work on each other's projects. So, like, I had to be friends with my classmates, which also I never experienced my entire college time. So, like, I was working on my classmates' projects. They were working on mine. And it was, like, the first time that I was, like, behind the camera again since being a kid, like, making something.
Yeah.
And that did very well. It won the prize at the film festival that I was too ashamed to go to because I thought everyone would hate it.
Of course.
And I got the email from my professor who was like, I was very upset not to see you there, but you won a scholarship.
It's now that's a good lesson in just showing up.
And he was like, I actually just saw a screenshot of that email, and he was like, I hope you put this towards your senior film. Never even did a senior film.
Could you just cash that check?
I mean, I cashed the check, but I never even did a senior film, which is just crazy. I was so avoidant of it.
You were afraid.
But then I got into creative writing, and I would say actually secondary, that was the best. I would do anything, and it's not hard to do it again. But peer review creative writing classes is the best thing you could do if you are into writing of any kind. Like, having 16 people read your work and then give you feedback on it in real time sounds like a nightmare. When you're an excellent writer, it's amazing.
That sounds like actually creative writing class. I think that would have put me out.
No, everyone was really supportive. No one would ever imagine sitting in a classroom and someone critiqued your work in a mean way. Happens in girls, but doesn't happen really.
But I feel like sometimes I lack creativity in the writing space, even in the art space.
Because you get prompts. You get prompts.
I would like a prompt. I think I need a prompt.
I'll give you prompts every day.
If you want, I'll do a short 100-word like
that's
excerpt.
Almost an Instagram caption, Andrew. 100 words.
That's probably all I. That's
less
all
than,
I have.
Okay.
But I would also do the creative prompts for like drawing too, because I think that any single time somebody gave me a piece of paper and they're like, "Let's draw," all I would draw, literally,
a couple on the beach with the sunset and birds.
No, well, birds for sure were in it. A park bench on grass with trees behind it, maybe a little house with a little walkway every single time. What does that say about me?
Yeah, what does that say?
I almost wonder if somebody can analyze that. Every single time someone would give me a piece of paper, I would just draw a park bench.
A park bench
on grass. The tree.
I know your classic tree.
Classic tree was a good tree. Mm-hmm. With a little house and a little walkway, and my grass would be like those little V's. I would sprout it out. Sometimes I would have a seagull or a bird in there, which just be a quick little V, but that's it. That's
so
all I would
think. What do you think that park bench represented for you?
I can only assume like Being a top.
What?
Being a top.
And elaborate, please.
It's because like park benches, it's like people sit on them. They're sturdy and they're supportive.
So you think your whole childhood you were manifesting being a top, and then you turned out like this?
You don't think that I give top from Illinois? Come on. No, I actually don't know. And maybe it was like a support thing. Maybe it was like I need to get back out in nature, and maybe I want to like sit there with somebody with like the love of my life or something, and just like have a nice little time. Just like hang out by the park and sit on a bench with them and like maybe hold their hand. Maybe that was it.
That could have been it. That makes sense.
Do you have any advice for people who either are in college or post-college that look back at their college experience negatively?
Well, I would actually I'd rather give advice to, well, yeah, I'll do your round first.
I love that. I'd actually rather do something else.
Oh, God. Yeah, I feel like, well, obviously, I look back at my college experience fairly negatively. What's the point? What's the point of looking back on something that you did and regretting it? I mean, I'm sure I learned some things. I'm sure it taught me a lot. I did make one of my lifelong friends, Michelle and Lindsay. So I made like 2 friends in that time. I got to make some short films, got to experiment creatively. Did I have sex?
No.
Did I drink?
No.
Did I experiment with drugs?
No, but fake drugs.
Yeah. Did I meet new people?
No.
Did I find myself?
No.
Did I study what I wanted to study?
Yeah,
kind of. So lots of no's.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I do believe it. I can't imagine that I'm not the sum of all my experiences.
Mm-hmm. I understand that.
What a bleak sum.
It's a bleak sum, but you know what? Sometimes you have to be in the negatives to only see the positive from there. So that's a good way to look at it.
That's really good. Sometimes you have to be in the negatives to only see the positives from there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I think if we looked at it that way, it's gorgeous. And I think that
people are getting ejected every day.
People are getting ejected every day. There's so many things that are happening every day, obviously, as we all know, but like you just need to sit, even if you're negative, sit in that negative for a second and realize on the other side,
there's a podcast.
It's greater than zero.
So what was yours? What would be your
I would
advice?
say my advice would be, do I look back on my college experience positively? For sure. Would I go back? Absolutely. Are there things that I would have changed? Like being myself a little bit more, or like sexually myself? For sure. But I don't regret the people that I met. I don't regret the classes that I took. I don't regret the clubs that I was in. And I don't regret being a finance major. You know what I mean? I went through some insane classes, some of the hardest things I could have ever pictured myself doing, but you know, it was all for the right reasons, and it led me here today. And yeah, I might not be on Wall Street, but my pockets are just as heavy.
Michelle Obama.
Exactly. I'm getting those Oprah dollars. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would like to then give some advice to, in my perspective, the commuter.
Yeah.
And this is where I really am speaking to that person who's sick just hearing that phrase, who's currently commuting to college. You gotta do something. You gotta do a little something. I think if I could go back, I would have forced my socially anxious, deeply antisocial self to interact with another person, to meet someone with a new perspective, to do something outside of go to class and go home. And I made a lot of fair weather friends who were also commuters, who were also in the same mindset that was like, I hate this place, we're just here to get our degrees and leave. Like, it was more frequently than not I would meet those people. And that was always nice at least to have them. But what a waste. It's a prime of your life in some ways. And to waste it, wanting it to be over is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
So 1, I know how you feel, but also 2, if you're still in school, you have the chance to change that narrative. And it just takes like one bold move of speaking to someone and then getting invited to a party and then going to the party and then just seeing what happens from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are many invitations I turned down.
Yeah.
Both like friendships, dates, parties, turned it all down. Absolutely not. For what?
It's about saying yes to things that are potentially not dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to say yes to everything.
But everything sounds dangerous when you're in that point of view. Everything could sound dangerous. And that's kind of where I was at.
Yeah. Oh, go to the party.
Go to the party.
Laugh a little. Meet the people.
Say yes.
Say yes.
Say yes to heaven. Say yes to me. Should we do a call?
Yeah. Good children to the guidance office.
Hi, Andrew and Joe. OMG, your little voices brought a smile to my heart and goosies to my skin. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Klena, and I just graduated in May. And school, okay, so I graduated with my bachelor's degree. Don't ask me what it was in because I don't want to talk about it. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. It was musical theater. Yeah,
obviously.
Okay, fine. Anyway, school's starting back up, and I am living at my parents' house post-grad to save money. And let's just say I am not doing awesome. I know that I think both of you lived with your parents post-grad for at least a time. What were the things that you did to make you survive, 1, and 2, find joy in that chapter of your lives? Because I would love to know. Yeah, that's all. Love you guys.
Love you, girl.
Love you, Dave.
Love a musical theater degree.
Yeah.
Wish I had that under my belt.
Obviously I had a little more experience living at home than you did, but girl, it sucked. Like, I don't even know. I got a job in Manhattan, so that was great, and that was BuzzFeed. So I was able to meet people who were like my age and like-minded, and I hung out with them outside of work. But a lot of my both college and post-grad experience was extremely lonely and unbelievably isolating.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really only came to terms with that during this podcast. And I feel like the best things that happened to me post-grad were making friends who lived in the place I wanted to live. Because even though I didn't have an apartment in New York, I still went out here. I still did the thing. I was able to understand who I wanted to become, and I was able to save the money to be able to do that. And then, I mean, it definitely was crazy to always have to tell my mom like what I was doing when I was leaving the house, and also again without a car or a license, it was kind of like, can you drive me to the train station so I can go X, Y, and Z? COVID, which is right when you moved back and with your parents for a second, was for me the only time when like my relationship with my parents actually thrived living together, because I think that at that point everyone accepted like we need to give each other some space. Like we don't need to be around each other constantly. We're here, like we're obviously in quarantine together. So that was the best. I think if you could try to establish boundaries, it's going to be weird because it's obviously always weird to try to establish boundaries with like your parents, but it'll ultimately help everyone in the long run. So if there's something that bumps for you that maybe didn't bump, or maybe always bumped for the first 22 years of your life, but you never said anything, address it, get it head on, because I do believe the longer you can live home, the better. Yeah. I left home with a huge savings account that I drained to do this podcast, but a huge savings account.
Same.
And that was gorgeous. And we had a gorgeous apartment in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
As a result of that.
I wasn't even living at home and I had a huge savings. That sucks.
But you didn't buy anything. I was always still buying clothes.
Yeah. But I think that if anything I learned during COVID, and it's different because I didn't move post-grad, but as somber as this sounds, it kind of reminded me that time is fleeting.
Yeah.
And that, yes, you might have just graduated college and you're living with your parents and you feel stagnant and you feel stuck and you feel held back. And you feel like other people are always going to be progressing more than you are. But the times that you spend at home with your family, you will look back on in a really positive light down the road. Because as people get older, as you start doing your own thing, as you move away, those experiences won't happen as often. And then the time that you do see your family are really special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would look at it from that light and be like, actually, I'm good. I'm giving myself this time. Like, I'm saving money. I'm with my family. Like, this might not be the case in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but it is right now. So I'm living in that moment.
Yeah. To quote my favorite artist, Ella Yellock O'Connor, Lord, spend all the evenings you can with the people who raised you. 'Cause all the times they will change, they'll all come around. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stoned at the nail salon. Maybe I'm just stoned at the nail salon again.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. We didn't really cover anything in some ways, but we covered a lot. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Don't forget to do your homework.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, write a little something on Apple Pod, send that 5 stars on Spotify. Okay? It doesn't take too long and we would love to see them. And spread the word to your friends. Spread the good word. And you know where to find us across all social media platforms at Good Children Pod. I'm on Instagram at Andrew Muscarella, on TikTok at Andrew_Muskie.
I'm on Instagram at Joe Hegyes and on TikTok at Be Quiet Joe.
And with that,
and don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon, as aforementioned, $7 a month.
Yeah, and you get a lot. And now we know we can go live in the chat.
We can go live in the chat, voice. We can go live audio. So buckle up because we're gonna abuse that feature.
We're gonna be singing a lot.
Until then, we'll see you next week with a brand new episode, or on Friday on Patreon. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stoned at the nail salon. Maybe I'm just stoned at the nail salon again. Oh, make it good. Oh, make it good. I'll ride on the carousel, round and round forever if I could. But it's time to slow it down, wherever that leads.
End scene.
So what was your favorite scene from Napoleon Dynamite?
Thanks for asking. I made them myself. Bologna sandwiches.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.